Live Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is your boy Easman. You're listening to iLive Radio, supporting independent artists from around the world.
Hey, peace and blessings. This is Lucia D inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. for Honey Drop here on iLive Radio. Journey with me each week as I spin the latest international sounds in new soul, R&B, hip-hop, and a little taste of everything in between. Every show features independent producers from across the globe in the beats beneath, and the 10 sweetest vibes of the week smooth out the night in the 10 Drop. Honey Drop, each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, here on iLive Radio. Serving up audible treats like honey, always with a heavy beat drop.
Attention à tous les musiciens, groupes, associations, clubs et organisations qui représentent les styles collectifs de musique à travers le Canada. Le moment est venu de reconstruire nos genres de nations musicales collectives comme le hip-hop, le R&B, le jazz, le soul, le reggae, le gospel et plus unis. La Nation de la musique collective est une organisation à but non lucratif engagée dans le développement de la musique collective. Des adhésions gratuites sont disponibles dès maintenant. La Nation de la musique collective, une seule voix, la force dans l'unité.
Your number one local radio station.
Music back to back to back on iLive Radio.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you for joining us with another week of The Wealth Effect, brought to you by Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions. I am your host, Nicole Williams, joined by Jason Allen John. And this morning we are super excited to welcome our guest, who is the broker owner of our great brokerage that we are members of, Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, none other than Steve Bryan. Thank you, Steve, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so exciting. I'm gonna allow Jason to do his model walk-in, guys.
Morning, Jason. How are you, sir?
Morning, Steve.
How are you?
I'm blessed.
Yes.
Excellent. Good guys. Good to see you guys.
Yes, definitely. So happy to have you as our official second guest. And it's been quite a week. Like, how's the week been for you, Jason?
Week's been exciting. Good week. Everything's been up and up. Been paying attention to the news. That Reddit, that Wall Street Bets has been the top of my discussion. And, since this is the wealth effect, we got to talk about that as well. Although, Steve and I and Nicole, we're part of a mortgage team. And, the mortgage business, there's some interesting stuff that, happened over the last week that we could get into too as well. But I think what's happened with the Reddit bets is very interesting.
Yes. Just to get more perspective, like they're saying, I guess, during the pandemic, people are home, people are taking heed and learning about the stock market.
Yeah.
And learning what to invest in and taking chances and options and calls and all these other things that, I'm familiar with, but I'm not an expert in.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been making lots of money in the stock market.
Yeah. And I kind of want to get into and I guess we could talk and bring in Steve into this though. But the thing about what's going on with the Wall Street bets is the power in numbers.
Yes.
I think that's the big thing. I think everyone needs to recognize that as a group, we're stronger together than we are separate. And I think that's a strong behind the scenes notion that we have to pay attention to, because there's a lot of stuff that could happen as a result of that. So that leads into, Steve and CTMS and
yes.
Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, the sponsor of this show. And, myself, Nicole, and Steve are working together to build the brand. And,
yes,
working together as a team, I find that's more productive than trying to do this out solo. So Steve, let's talk about, your vision and, how you started.
Yes.
And, let's get into why you started CTMS.
Well, before we get there, right, because I think that's the juicy part, right? I think we have to really introduce people, because the thing about Steve, I've worked with him and I've known him for some years. And he's always been a man that's been elusive. He wants to be behind the scenes, never wants to really put his face out there. And it's almost like if you know him, you know him. And if you don't, you don't, right? So let's start off with, just getting to know you a little. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Well, for me, I've been in the mortgage business over 15 years now. I've started with a company called Safe Capital Financials. After I worked with them for a little bit, then I went over to UMAX, another small brokerage. Then I went over to RMA, which is Real Mortgage Associates. Then I went over to Mortgage Alliance. And from Mortgage Alliance, there comes CTMS.
Yes.
I got involved in the business because I knew a few people that was in real estate. I wanted to get involved in, mortgage side. I started visiting their offices, having conversation. And this is where we're at today.
Okay, so you've been around the block, you've met people, you've built relationships, because that's one thing I would say that is key with this business and any real sales business is building relationships. And that has helped to foster, the type of business that you yourself have. And now that what we're trying to build with CTMS as well, right?
Yes.
So Steve, why not real estate agent? Why mortgages? Like we were like last week we had Samantha Brooks, and I'm saying no one grows up and says, I want to be a mortgage agent.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of felt, being on this side of the fence too, everyone wants, money is needed in everything. And I felt if I got involved in the mortgage side, then there's always business.
Okay.
I'm glad the way things end up now. There's nothing wrong with being a real estate agent, real estate broker, but this is where it's at. And I love what I do. I love working with my team. And I'm hoping that we can continue to do some great stuff.
Definitely. So let's take it back even a little bit further. So prior to you getting into the mortgage space, can you just tell us maybe what you had envisioned for yourself when you were younger, growing up? For myself, I always thought I was going to be a lawyer, and that clearly didn't happen. Although some people would say that that's not the case because I can argue for days on end. What were some things that you thought that you wanted to, explore or be when you were growing up?
I really wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be a business owner.
Okay.
And that was something that I really wanted to do. I wanted to be a business owner. And one thing that was important to me as well is the people that I work with. I wanted to make sure that they're looked after. That's it. Pretty much. I wanted to make sure that if I'm a business owner, I'm not the only one that's doing well. My team is also doing well.
Okay.
That's a great perspective.
That's great. Yeah. So then you've always wanted to be in business. So was the mortgage business the first business that you delved into?
No, being younger, I dabble in different ventures. And to me, life is about trying things. You must try things. Some things work, some doesn't, but you must keep trying things. And eventually you will find your niche and you will pay your dues. You put in the work, you do the same thing over and over. And eventually whatever it is that you want to do will work out.
Okay.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess as a mortgage agent, I find for myself, that's a lot of patience and, perseverance, and a lot of entrepreneurship is involved in being a self-employed individual. So from a young age, you must have realized that, but what gave you that power to strive and get to the point where you are in your business world, to get through all the challenges from, wanting to always be an entrepreneur? I'm sure it wasn't just a straight path up.
Well, CTMS Mortgage, Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, working with you guys, Jason, I'll tell you one thing, Nicole, I literally, when I started CTMS, I realized it's something that I've always wanted to do, an owner, because I've always wanted to, like I said, to take care of the people that are around me. And some things, as I go along in my life, in my journey, you want to take care of your family. You want to take care of people that cares for you. You care for them. And poverty, I tell you one thing though, poverty is a place once you're there, it's a place where you visit, but it's not a place where you stay.
I like
And for me, that kind of say, well, you know what? In order to lift up yourself and other people, you have to sort of go out there, do your best, change life, help people, always do the right thing, help people, and everything will work out in the end.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that vision that that looks to that long term and what people don't really see. And I find, in our mortgage business, it's all about that. We're always finding to find solutions for customers that sometimes they don't even see that is a valid solution for them, right?
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. So I'm just taking it to think of somebody who's starting in the business, because, we're going to have a different broad spectrum of people and listeners to our show, The Wealth Effect. And thinking of someone who's just starting off in their career, their mortgage career. What are 3 things, Steve, that you do consistently in your day that you believe contributes to your success that could also help somebody else who's starting out in their business?
For me, 3 things I do. I get up, I pray, I exercise, I make sure I get that good vibe blood going. I have my black coffee, and then I show up. I do the same thing over and over again. And it's just repetition. And you must love what you do. It's important. There must be a passion.
Okay. So what time are you up and exercising in the morning, would you say?
Sometimes I'm up 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So you're part of the 5 a.m. club.
Yeah, I'm up 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And,
So,
yeah, go ahead, sir.
no, I was going to say, they say that success leaves clues, right?
Yes.
And when you follow a lot of the big names out there, they all say they attribute, their success to having a productive start to their day. And that usually starts with an early morning. So an early rise, right?
Yeah.
That's important. I'm a morning person. Nicole, are you a morning person?
I am.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but I will say naturally, I wasn't as much. I had to train myself to become a morning person. And through the training now, I am. Really, I am. Yeah.
One thing I find about the mornings is very peaceful. What about you, Steve?
Sometimes in the morning sometimes I find sometimes I even get up at 4 o'clock, to be honest with you, and I will work up until around maybe say 9. And I find when I do that, I get a day's work done before my day starts. So I'm ahead of the clock before the phone start ringing, all the distractions start going off.
Okay.
I will say that Steve is the first in the office every morning.
Oh yeah, that's for
and
sure.
I did have a personal goal one time, and I don't know if I even said this to you, Steve, that I was going to try and beat you to the office.
Did you?
I think the one time I did beat him was because he had an appointment outside of the office. And if he perhaps didn't have that appointment outside of the office, I probably still wouldn't have beat him.
Oh man. So let's talk about some of your routines that got you to become, a broker and start CTMS. Like when you first started out as an agent, what were some of the things that you did? Like I know the industry is a little bit different, and now with COVID, it's probably hard to all the networking and stuff that even myself I used to do when I first started. But give us some of the tips and the tools that you use to build your book of business.
Yes.
Well, when I first started this business, I tell you, it was tough, hard. I used to do flyers. I'd park my car and go door to door, distribute flyers, because at that point you can't afford to pay for your own marketing. I'd park my cars in areas where I get lost. Can't find my car, just walking all day, distributing flyers, exercise at the same time, but you just constantly pave, just bam, bam, bam. It just, don't give up. That's important. Don't give up. If you really want it that bad, and there will be days that you will say, man, there's no deals on the table. Am I doing the right thing? But you stick it out, things will happen. But consistency. Do the same thing over and over again. I tried to build relationship with lenders, other brokers, agents. In this business, you meet a lot of people. It's important how you conduct business. You help your clients, and clients will refer to other clients, and things will happen.
Yeah, that's good.
One
Yes.
thing I will say, I've been very vocal. I tell everybody that Steve is one of my business mentors. And one thing I
Thank you.
noticed very early on with Steve, and this is something that I think is super key, is mindset. Steve always had a positive mindset, even when for the world, they might see things going upside down or going left. He was always like, nope, it's a good day. We're going to make something happen. Things are going to, like, he's always had that, that rah talk to where it becomes contagious. And then you yourself have no choice but to also believe, right? And I always think of myself as being a positive person.
Yeah.
But sometimes, we can fall into a rut, and being around people that constantly are encouraging and reminding you that, if they can do it, you can do it, and one thing I really appreciate about Steve as well is he's always spoken positivity over my life and my business. Like, he has said to me, Nicole, if you're not making $250 a year, like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, and like, these are things that he has said. So definitely want to give you your roses and say thank you for
Appreciate it,
positive influence in my life. And
Appreciate
just want to echo that those are things I think that are extremely important for anyone looking to build business. It's not only about just, pounding the pavement. Yes, that's one part of it, but you have to first show up in your mind. It's about what you're putting in your mind, who you are acquainting yourself with, who you choose to spend your time with, because people that you spend your time with could be to the detriment of you, but they can also be to your success.
The alignment is important. Yeah, the alignment is important. I talk to myself. There's days, there's good days and there's not bad days, but there's days when you want to say, you know what, I'm going to stay in bed, just take it easy. But I speak to myself, literally have conversation, tell myself it's going to be okay. It's a beautiful day. And these things help, especially in a time like now when COVID, people are isolated. We have to be nicer. We have to speak positivity. It's important. We have to lift up the weak. Right?
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. So how did you guys meet?
Through Mortgage Alliance.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when I started at Mortgage Alliance, we were both working with the same franchise. But Steve was very kind to take me under his wing. I don't think he really classified it taking me under his wing, but I looked at it to say, okay, well, I was just coming out of the bank. And now entering the broker space. And just to have somebody directly there with me was, key, just to even run ideas and, I have a deal and I don't know how to place this. Steve was always kind and generous with, sharing his knowledge.
Okay.
And I leaned on his experience, when I first started.
Oh, okay. So did you know him before you entered into the mortgage game, or when you were ready?
No.
Sorry, when you entered into the broker space?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But it's so funny. After I entered into the broker space, everyone that I was encountering, like friends, family, acquaintances, were like, oh, if you're looking for a broker, I know a broker. And then his name kept on coming up.
Oh, wow.
But this was after I already decided to make the transition. So then to me, it was almost like a confirmation that I was at the right place at the right time, if that kind of makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because then I was like, okay, wow, if everyone's speaking so positive, then there has to be something great,
Okay, that makes sense. That's good. That's a nice story.
Yes.
And you have been an asset, Nicole. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, Steve, just I know we're gonna have a break soon, but when we get into the next segment, I kind of want to get into like what's going on now. Like, what do you think about the market and how we want to get into the wealth, and a lot of wealth is built through real estate. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why you started to be a mortgage agent. But we got to talk to the people about some of the things that we're noticing and the trends and things. I think this year's been interesting already in the first few weeks. So what do you think? What is your feeling about how the rest of the year is going to turn out? And just having that, they just put like a travel ban. So I wonder how that's going to affect the markets and stuff.
Yes.
Well, for me, the market is going to do what the market does. The market will play itself out eventually. But I tell people right now, money's cheap. The cost of carrying a home is lot lower than before.
Mhm.
If you can get into the market, get into the market.
Mm.
People are working from home now, and a house itself now, it's not no longer just a home. It's more a production company. It's a play area. So people are also looking to upsize. And
Yes.
people that are selling, they have more playing money. When I say playing money, they have more equity to play with, so they can go and they do all these bully offers.
Mhm.
People are moving outside the GTA. They're willing to go 3-4 hours just to get into the market.
Yes.
You know, I say, if you can get in, and you got to be creative sometimes. You
Yeah.
might know mom and pop that's selling a home. They're not going to be buying again. They're going to be going into some maybe a retirement home. They have a bunch of equity. They don't need to pull all the money yet. Go knock on their door. Ask them for a VTB, vendor state back,
Yeah.
whatever you can do to get into the market, because real estate is a long-term investment.
Mhm.
It's not, if you're looking to flip homes, then you have to be really concerned,
Yes.
because you're turning it over and over again. But if you're looking to build wealth, you buy, you sit, you're going to be okay.
Okay.
For first-time home buyers, they can still get into the condo market. Condo price is not so bad. It will get there again. But get in where you can, get in while you can.
Mhm. All right. Like, we're gonna go on break just now, and then again, like this, the Wealth Effect is sponsored by Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions. I'm Jason Allen John, and it's Nicole Williams.
Yes.
And we got our guest Steve Bryan on the line, and we're gonna get into some more things after the break. But you know, it's very important we tell people about like the current trends. It's RSP season 2, so we should
Yes.
probably talk a little bit about that for our first-time buyers. And yeah,
We'll go from there. So again, thank you guys. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll be back in a short break, after the short break.
This is Jamie Sparks, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Jermaine Robbins, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Yo, this is Kiana O'Quinn, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
This is Lavinia J from the UK, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Attention, all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation. Genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. Collective Music Nation, one voice, strength in unity.
This is Miss Care keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5, brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
The number one hit music station.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
all right, welcome back to the Wealth Effect Show with Jason Allen John and Nicole Williams. We got our special guest Steve Bryan. How you doing, Steve? We're back. You there? All right. Well, we're going to talk about, I want to get into refinancing right now. And I want to just talk about what customers should do right now. Like right now.
Yes.
So I think number one, I always say January, February, March are very important time of the year. It gets us prepared and it sets the tone for the rest of the year. Obviously, it's the top of the year, but not only that is like it's before tax planning time, right? Or well, you should be tax planning throughout the year, but tax planning for 2021 and looking at opportunities and ways that you can take advantage of the market. So I think we're in an interesting space where there are some people who are sitting on a bunch of equity and are unsure what to do. And I'm curious, what's your opinion, Nicole, and also Steve, on what do you think clients should do right now with their current mortgage situation?
Yes, Steve. You want to take this one?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hold on a sec, guys. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, that's okay. So I'll start off then while Steve comes back and joins us.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead,
We can hear
Steve.
you.
Okay, so my take now, refinance. Now is a good time to do a refi. Look at your mortgage interest rate. I say if your mortgage is over 3% or more, look at to refinance. Talk to a professional. Look at the penalties. Look at different ways. Now's the time to pull some equity out. Might buy an investment property.
Yes.
Now is a good time to scale your portfolio.
Yeah.
You leverage that one property. If you're able to take it up to 80%, by all means, go ahead. Maybe it's time to help out your kids, help somebody out, get into the market.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that you said there that may go over some of our listeners' heads. So 1A is looking at your mortgage commitment. A lot of people get the mortgage, they tuck it in. They know that, I have a rate somewhere around 3%. They don't know exactly what the rate is. So again, a part of anybody being financially aware, it is important to take a look at all of your financial documents. Look at your commitment. If your rate is over 3%, give us a call. We'll definitely be happy to sit down and review where you're currently at, because it may be worth paying the penalty to break your current mortgage to get into the current rates that we're getting, because we're seeing rates on an insured as low as 1.64,
0.59 even. There's some very low rates. The variable rates are low.
Some very low rates.
So a couple of things. And then also, like, we can't forget, like, some people, if you're in even if you're in a variable rate, it may be a discussion to lock in that rate, like even refinance and lock in some of those rates. So I know variable has been very popular, and it's good. And we're talking about people who are not trying to move and are not going to do anything in the next few years, that looking at maybe even possibly just locking in that rate, right? Because you can get some very good 5-year fixed rate on the insured side. So if you're even in an insured mortgage, you could look at just locking in too. We have some help that we could provide you with that and bringing you over to a lender that could give you a really, really low rate. The other thing that I think people should look at too is that the market has gone up a lot, especially in some areas. Like I think Durham went up, 30% or 20%, 25, 30%, whatever. It's been crazy. So that may, I'm not going to be a predictor or anything, but if you have ability to access to equity, the rates are so cheap right now. There's nothing wrong with holding money to wait to determine what you're going to do. So what are your guys' thoughts on customers being liquid? And then if I sometimes say to this, pull out the money. And if you don't do anything in a year, put it back down as a lump sum. Let's just see you take $200,000 out for a year at 1.5% interest. It's costing you $3,500, let's just say, in a year. And if you don't use it, worst case, you lost $3,500. But if you needed it for something like a quick sale or a stock tip or something's going on and you're not liquid, you could have made a lot of money off of that. So what are your thoughts on that as customers maybe taking out more money before they even know what they're going to do with it?
Well, for me, I have a saying, cash is king, credit is queen, right? So
I like that.
So
cash is king.
Cash is king, but credit is queen. So with the two combined, you're pretty unstoppable in a sense, right? And to your point, when we have lenders that are willing to allow us to take the equity takeout, because the reality is not all lenders are open to always allowing lenders to take the equity out. But if you can explore and you can get your hands on $100K right now, you might as well, because it might not look the same in 6 months. What do you think, Steve?
Well, no, I'm on the same page. I mean, now is the time to leverage. I mean, money's cheap. You leverage, like Jason said, you could sit and wait. You're liquid, opportunity will come. Worst case, you still have the money, you dump it back down on the mortgage. But you will find something to do with that mortgage. There's tons of real estate to buy. There's tons of opportunity out there right now.
And the thing is, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be something that you are directly investing in. People are doing partnerships. Steve had mentioned that, parents are helping out children get into the market.
There could be relatives, anybody. Because to be honest with you, right now, because of the economics of scale and the amount of down payment that people have to put down, you need a little bit of a push.
Yes.
Like everybody needs a little bit of support right now because it's expensive to get in. But because of obviously the stress test, like we're talking about, we're approving people almost 3% more than what they're actually paying on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So people are unable to afford it. I think there's a direct correlation to the reduction in the mortgage interest rates and how much price has gone up in certain cases, like especially in the detached market, because people are able to afford a little bit more. So you reduce a condo fee, like people are moving from downtown or moving from the condo market, reduce a condo fee. Mortgage rates has gone down by 2%.
Yeah.
You know, so in some cases, people are saving almost $1,000 a month by moving to the suburbs.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, that's why prices are going up. So we may see it continue as rates continue to depress. But if you have access to that equity, you might be able to now take advantage of maybe other markets that are depressed. So
correct.
It's just about being prepared. And I think that's more what it is. Or maybe you can get a line of credit, like if you don't want to have all that debt, but having access to cheap capital that's what, you know, the banks do and how they build wealth and how the wealthy continue to develop their riches, right?
Yeah.
And obviously when you make an investment with the money, it becomes tax deductible too. So it becomes an interest deductibility if you're going to use the money for some sort of investment. So there's multiple ways to use equity, but I think everybody has to not get scared of using it.
Yeah. They say scared money makes no money, right? That's it. Right?
So go ahead.
And like what you were saying, Jason, people have to start pooling their resources together to get into the market. I mean, and I, you know, could be group of 3s, 4, just pool your resource. Start getting 25% of 100, or as opposed to waiting for 100% of 100. You know, a little bit of equity is better than zero.
Exactly.
Right.
Especially we're seeing the way the market moves. If the market goes up 30% and you and your friends bought a house and you guys put $100,000 down and the house went up 30%, which let's say it's a $500,000 house, you know, that's almost $150,000 between 3 of you guys. You guys made $50,000 off of maybe $25,000, right?
Like
it's simple math because it's leverage. So the power of the leverage actually doubles your investment. So, you know, and what we're trying to demonstrate that there's so many options, but you have to be willing to work together. And let's go back to even like the Reddit stuff and the Wall Street bets. Again, powers in numbers. You gang together, you work together, you move as a unit, you have a common goal, and you can get to a great place. But you have to have access to capital. Like deals come on our desk and opportunities, and sometimes I can't even take advantage of it because I'm not liquid like that. So I think it's very important. And then I think you make a different decision when you have access to the capital, right?
Correct.
Compared to if you have to go apply for a mortgage or get a loan or do whatever you need to do, right? If it's difficult to get it, it makes the decision that much harder to make.
So it's you know, but people say stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. You know, and the classic example has been what we've seen in the stock market this week. You know, for those perhaps that aren't familiar, during COVID, I know we were talking about it a little bit on the first segment. A lot of people were taking time, they were learning about stocks. You know, they were investing heavily in stocks. And then this week, a lot of people were trying to cash in because they were realizing that the market was going up. And then, you know, the banks did what they did. And, you know, I've literally seen posts by, you know, older Caucasian males literally saying that this is people at home due to COVID, they're bored and they're attacking the wealthy. Like this is a quote that they are attacking the wealthy. So this is the mindset that I'm not saying everybody, but certain segments of the population hold. And this is why it was so important for us to have and create the wealth effect, because we don't believe that wealth is subject to just one specific person or one specific category. Wealth is something that should be available to everyone. What we choose to achieve and how much we choose to have, that's going to be different. It looks different for everybody. And no one should dictate what one's life should look like. However, I don't feel like it's fair that people should then say, well, they're home, sitting at home because of COVID bored, and now they're attacking the wealthy as a result. you know?
Yeah, but not only that, like, let's talk about something else. Like, what's going on is because, like you were saying earlier, like everyone's searching for information.
Yes.
Right. So I just want to get to you, Steve. Like, where do you look for your information and your inspiration for, and like, or when you're looking for like investments or opportunities and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, network is like the people that you align yourself with is always the key. And I find that, you know, your network is supposed to be your net worth, right? So the people that you align yourself with, a lot of times there's opportunities that's constantly flowing. You talk to each other, something comes up. Hey, Jason, this is what's going on. So you always stay alert, see what's happening. There's something you can jump into. There's an opportunity. But for me, I just literally every day just show up, and things sometimes just happens, right? But I mean, my inspiration literally is just loving what I do and like loving changing people's life, helping them. That's it.
Okay, that's great. And
there's a value in helping somebody, lifting somebody up, and I like the value of that. I like the fact that you're helping other people, as opposed to literally just constantly just worried about yourself, thinking about yourself, and you build your community. And now is a time where people, because of the way the pandemic is right now, the COVID, people for some reason are trying to acquire more wealth, and they are doing all they can to get into the market to it. And one of the things that they're using is real estate.
Yeah, you're right. They're using real estate a lot. I guess because it's a solid asset, right? Like real estate is land, so it's something we all need.
Yeah.
No matter what, everyone needs a place to live. They need shelter. It doesn't seem like we're shrinking as a population, so we're growing. So there needs to be more real estate, and I feel like that's part of the reason. So I want to get into even that, because what we see a lot is bidding wars, right? So right now there's a lot of no conditions on offers. I guess that's been going on for the last 2.5 years, I would say, consistently. But because even worse, the lack of inventory. What would you say to people as they get prepared to get into the market now, given the lack of inventory and the increased bidding wars?
For me, I mean, the bidding wars is always going to be there. It seems like it's because there's a demand, there's a supply, and there's a demand. There's a demand issue. I mean, there's a supply issue, and people are just buying homes, and they want more space. And but buying a house firm without financing condition, inspection, these are some dangerous part of the process. I tell my client, put your financing condition in. Because there's appraisal that's needed. There's inspection. So you go through the process, you get the right agent, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I guess being prepared to speak with us before you go out shopping, so you're not coming in. You're like, I've already put an offer with no conditions, figuring it out. Nicole and Jason, and Steve.
I know. That's it. It's a part of the planning process. I tell people all the time, like you need to think. People sometimes plan a birthday party longer than they want to prepare themselves for a home purchase, So there's steps to this. You're going to want to review what your budget looks like. What is your affordability? What are you comfortable with? Not because, necessarily in black and white, the numbers may say that you qualify.
Yeah.
Again, the lenders don't know what your lifestyle is, what does your credit look like? Are there things on there that may preclude you from getting the specific lender of your choice, So just being really prepared, I think is super key, in our industry, especially dealing with the current market conditions of the bidding wars that we are seeing, especially.
Yeah, it's
the other thing I wanted to touch into as well is pre-approval.
Okay.
I tell clients all the time, the pre-approval is just a pre-approval and the paper. It's not something for you to say, I'm going to go in a firm and buy a house.
Yeah.
It's very important to make sure that you understand when banks give pre-approval, literally sometimes they haven't seen your documents. They're just seeing the information on the application, your credit report. When the deal goes live, they start going through the documentation. If you go out, you buy a house based on pre-approval firm, and then when the deal becomes live, you can't get financing, then you have problems.
Yeah.
So you must consult with the back end, the mortgage professionals before you go up.
I agree. Like, I think we always have to be it seems like we're involved in a significant, like, obviously we're very significant. We provide the capital, but no, not literally, but we arrange the relationship between the lenders and the borrowers. But it seems like it's more imperative that we're involved than ever before in the relationship with our clients. Just about being prepared and taking advantage. There's a lot of things that we have knowledge on, and like, there's really obviously too much that you can't even get into specifics on a radio show or a podcast, because half the stuff we have to show you with numbers, and I could talk my brains out, but you probably will get confused.
Yes.
So you know, one thing that I like to say that I think is unique about being a mortgage agent is breaking down complex topics into small bits of information for clients to understand. So Steve, when you're speaking with a prospective customer that may not know anything about finance, what are some of the top tips that you want to tell them at the beginning, even going through this process and becoming an eventual homeowner?
Well, first, I tell my clients, budget. What is your lifestyle? Because owning a home is one thing, but you don't want to be slaving. I shouldn't say slave. You don't be constantly just working to pay your mortgage, becoming house poor sort of thing. You pay your mortgage, you can't buy a bottle of wine. You can't go to the movies with your kids. So you have to make sure you sit down, you look at your lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? What is it going to look like in 5 years? Do I qualify for $1 million? Do I spend $1 million? Do I spend $750? It all depends. Everybody roadmap to this, the home ownership looks different. So you make sure you have this conversation with your client, just reason, talk. Not you use terms that they can understand. Just simple, make it easy, and come up with a plan that once you put that client into that mortgage, they're going to be winning going forward, because that mortgage deal that you're putting the client in has a lot to do with the client future ahead of them, coming 5-10 years down the road. So I don't position my client in just a transaction deal today. I position the deal as a future as well.
Yes.
You always want to have that conversation with the client. What is your 5-year plan, your 3-year plan, your 10-year plan looks like? And this is where you will start with that mortgage.
Yes. So that's good. It's like you're setting them up to have basically you're a key member in their financial wealth building strategy, right? Yes. And getting away from just looking at it as a transaction. We are not transactional individuals.
No.
We are here to actually offer support and help individuals create the lifestyle, that they choose, and help them design it in a way that keeps them wealthy and healthy, mentally and sane, right?
Yeah.
So it's a full package deal is how I like to look at it.
Yeah, it's all in one, right?
Yeah.
It's because this is your entire life at the end of the day, like, and it's usually the biggest thing that most people purchase, right? But what I like to say is, don't make it be the last. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think everyone goes into it too FOMO-ish, or fear of missing out, as people would say. You watching these prices are going up, and then you're like, oh, I'm never going to be able to get in. But there's multiple ways to participate in the real estate market besides just being a homeowner. But the thing that I like to say that, and we're about to go on break, but something to think about is, like, you can never understand what the price of home ownership means to somebody.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Michonne Young, and you're listening to iLive Radio, supporting independent artists from all around.
This is Ronnie Sia, and you're listening to iLive Radio. iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. Listen to radio. Listen to radio.
It goes down right here on iLive Radio. Yo, this is Razan here, and you're listening to iLive Radio. Changing the way we listen to radio.
What's up, everybody? This is Cy Smith, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
My beautiful people, it's your man Tayanas, and right now you got it locked to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio around the world, baby.
Nothing makes you look, feel, and perform better than a tailor-made suit. Just like a tailor-made suit, a mortgage is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions will customize a mortgage to perfectly suit your needs. Come and get fitted for your mortgage today at 1-877-834-9346 or reach us on the web at ctmortgagesolutions.com. COVID safety protocols are in place. Brokerage license number 13228.
This is Miss Care keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5. Brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
You're listening to iLive Radio.
Here are some words of wisdom. Don't change your station. Don't change your station.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying tuned with us. We are presenting you The Wealth Effect with myself, Nicole Williams, and Jason Allen John, brought to you by Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, CTMS. And we are joined today by none other than the broker owner, Steve Bryan. So again, thank you, Steve, for joining us and being our second official guest on our show. Mm-hmm. And this last segment, we wanted to really just touch in more about Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, what the plans are for the brokerage, what your vision is, Steve, how we three of us came to work together, and the type of team that we have already and what we are looking to build for the remainder of the years to come.
Yes. The vision, the plan is to continue to grow organically and continue to help as many people as we can possibly in a more effective way to better help them with their finance and create wealth. Mm-hmm. As you know, the team has grown. We have 10 agents. We got signed up 2 over the weekend. And we're just going to keep growing and doing what we do best, help our clients, help the community. And that's it.
Yeah, so we're a growing team. You know, anybody that is possibly looking to enter the business, maybe looking for a change in, how they're doing their business, looking for the right support, the right team to be a part of, feel free to drop us a note. You can always reach out to Jason, myself, or Steve. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation. But again, we are not necessarily looking to have the most agents on the block. Mm-hmm. We want to have quality people who are in tuned and in alignment with, our philosophies, the way that we think. Not everybody has to think the exact same way, but the biggest thing for us is community over self.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, how are we empowering the lives of the community at large, therefore having a trickle effect in the impact in which we have in our own personal lives, right? So it's not self first, then community. Mm-hmm. It's really community first, then self. And I really am a strong believer, and I know Jason and Steve will echo this, that when you do good in the world, it will come back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. All the time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And, obviously as you grow, I said it at the beginning and I said it before, I think there's power in numbers. So working together as a group, there's more collateral benefits for that. And, I want to work with a lot of strong individuals that are looking to make an impact on society and help their customers and do things the right way. There's a lot of opportunities in this industry to grow. I think I always say there's like enough business for all of us. The competition is the banks, and we as brokers and agents provide much better service on a holistic basis for I feel like for clients' long-term visions, right? And we at CTMS want to have lifelong customers. You know, we want to help you get 10 mortgages if that's what you want, or if you want to build that dream home, we want to figure out how to put that plan in action so you can get there, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years, like that dream can be a reality and we could put a plan in action. So it's not just transactional. You know, we don't want to see our customers and then wave goodbye and then never see them again, right? So and we want to work with agents that want to build the same thing, right? We're planning to be a household name. And you know, people to recognize when they hear CTMS besides just on this show.
Yes, definitely. They'll know. And that's key, because even when Jason and I initially got together and put the idea of, okay, we can possibly work together. What Jason had said that stood out to me, and I think this resonates with what we are creating with the CTMS brand, is you said, and I'll get you to further explain, but you said you felt like you were at a point in your career where you had so much knowledge and you felt as though you were bounded to share the information. So it was no longer about just taking in, but it was also being of service to the community.
Yeah, like I think financial literacy is a key pillar in everybody, and unfortunately they don't teach financial literacy in schools. So most of us grow up not knowing to even balance your checkbook, right? So when it comes to a mortgage, like that's like advanced topics when you can't balance your books. But everybody wants to buy a house, right? But doesn't understand the responsibility with it. And then at the same time, when you get that house, how do you leverage and you get another home? Or how do you buy multiple properties? Or, you know, how do you build that dream home? Like I've worked with so many customers over the years and helped and provided a wealth of knowledge that I figured that it's time now that it needs to be more public and people need to understand the opportunities that are available to them. Like, and there's so many, and like, we didn't even get into that, and we're about to get into February, which is RSP month, or like, you know, when I used to work for the bank, I don't know why I'm saying that. It's terrible. RSPs all the time.
It is all the time.
But like, you know, I find even as a first-time buyers, people don't take advantage of the RSP, and it's not because they don't want to, it's because they don't know. So if I know this great opportunity that you could use to reduce your taxes and actually help you save for a home, me not telling the public about it is injustice, right?
And a disservice.
And a disservice. So I don't know, like Steve, I know, you know, that's why it was important for us to start this radio show, to show what this brand's about. And, you know, I know you want to do more of that yourself too, as well.
So, excuse me, I didn't hear that one.
Oh, I was just saying, like, we want to provide more financial literacy to the public.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's why, you know, we wanted to, you know, we want to show our knowledge through the Wealth Effect show. And, you know, why, you know, CTMS decided to sponsor this and create this show is because to provide that knowledge. And, you know, I know that's something you want to provide going forward and with this brand.
And that's the reason why Patrick from the show, we used to, during the summer, we go bike riding every weekend along the lakeshore. Me, Patrick, another friend of mine, and Patrick discussed this show. We had this conversation about the radio station. And I thought, you know what? Let me kind of jump in, set something up, and this is it. And this is a good platform for us to share information. You guys are doing an incredible, well done job so far. So we're going to continue to do this by all different means, all different platforms, stage. We're going to spread the news and change lives. That's what's going to be happening moving forward. Continue years to come with you guys, additional agents, things going to happen.
Yes. And the good thing about the Wealth Effect, really, it is a community. We're thinking community first, right? And it's not just about real estate. It's not just about mortgages. Although this is our level of expertise, we are bringing in, you know, different guest speakers from you know, a wide variety of different backgrounds, because any way that we can help to empower individuals' lives, empower them to build wealth, whether that's through stocks or investing or insurance opportunities. You know, we're talking about the RRSP and how we can leverage those types of things. We're going to be bringing in people. So please stay tuned, stay locked in to what we are building and what we are doing, and then share this with any family, friends that you know that can benefit. And if there's a guest that you think would be appropriate for us to bring onto the show, please drop us an email, send us, a DM. We're very open.
Yeah.
Because again, this is about leveling up the community,
Exactly. It's about inspiring people to do more at the end of the day.
That's it.
Whatever that more is,
yes.
We want you to do more of that, as long as it helps you reach that goal and build that legacy. Like, I think that it's bigger than you. If you could look at your life as a part of a whole story and what you can play in evolving, as a book, it's very important that you play your part and everyone plays their role. But it doesn't mean you need to be the leader. You can also be a participant and be a major role in a group effort to have accomplished something, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of, I guess, understanding the educational aspect of the different options that are available. Because I feel like the more that I learn, the more that I know that there's so many, you need a lot of people to create a product even.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like this iPhone here, like there's thousands of products inside of it that was used to make it, and it took a collaborative effort. It's not just Apple, right?
Yeah.
So when we look at that, that's when team environment makes a lot of sense. And that's also why we want to spread that information, so then you could do that. And also not only like all the financial literacy stuff, but entrepreneurship. Like, how do you start a business? Pitfalls that you go through. Because although I'm a mortgage agent, I'm much more of an entrepreneur, and there's a lot of stuff like and we'll get into that. And but even like, for example, before we talk about other things, but next week we're bringing on Robinson Smith, talking about the Smith maneuver, to provide some education on education on how you could take advantage of your mortgage yourself. And then, we're going to bring on some people that will provide us information on probably like Bitcoin, right? I definitely want to bring on, I have a client of mine who works on helping people with business plans and stuff like that. I want to bring on him for sure.
We have right now, our schedule's already booked for the next month, which is amazing. People have been super eager to say yes to our call, which I said is great. And we're just going to keep on building this really to be a platform for you. So again, any feedback that you have, any suggestions, feel free to hit any of us up. Send us an email. You can DM us. We are definitely open to, all of your recommendations, because at the end of the day, anything that I've learned this week, even through yesterday, learning of Cicely Tyson's passing, she was a legend in her own right. It's outside of building a name for yourself. It's about how you touch people's lives. Yeah. And I think that has been an underlying tone as to what all three of us have been saying throughout the show. It's about being of service to people, that your legacy lives on past your last day on this earth, right? And if there's anything that we can do through the wealth effect that will, help to impact even a slight change in any one of our viewers' lives, that's essentially what I'm all about.
And Steve, let's leave those last words to you. What would you like to say to the people before we go?
Be nice to each other, be kind, be patient, listen, and let's all get through this process. I don't know when that will be with this COVID stuff, but I think if we all work together, we all help each other, we'll get through this. But we must be nice to each other. If we're gonna say something, if it's not gonna be positive, don't say it.
Yeah, I can agree.
Don't. We never know what the next person is going through.
Yeah,
because we all go through something, but there's people have a way of dealing with their things differently. If we can help in a positive way, let's do so. If we cannot help in a positive way, don't do anything, or that's it.
Yeah.
But stay positive, and guys, fantastic, great job, keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see each other again.
Yes,
exactly. We'll bring you back on, once we get our groove and we get started. Yeah, but again, this is Jason Allen John, and this is Nicole Williams, and this is the Wealth Effect Show. brought to you by Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions, where, we're here to provide you wealth of knowledge so you could use it and take actionable steps. You want to tell them any last words, Nicole?
No, just, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Self-care is a must. I know it's been an underlying conversation piece with COVID. So any little thing you can do, whatever that is, take an extra long shower if you can, stay in the tub if you can, take a walk, whatever it is. Just, anything you can do for some self-care.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Have
a good afternoon.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care.
Hello there, this is Benjamin Clementine and listen to iLoveRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, Toronto? My name's Bosco and you're listening to iLive Radio.
This is Dwight Drummond from CBC News Toronto and you're listening to iLive Radio.